In 2014, Cartoon Network made $668 million just from ads. 2024, that number had fallen to $133 million. That's an 80% collapse in exactly 10 years. And the company that owns it just got put up for sale, in pieces, to two different buyers, fighting over the scraps. The channel that raised an entire generation is quietly dying in plain sight. Let's talk about the real cash flow of Cartoon Network and what actually happened to it. Cartoon Network launched in 1992. It was built by Turner Broadcasting, using old cartoon libraries nobody else wanted anymore. Classic shorts, old reruns, forgotten characters. Turner turned that leftover pile into a full channel. Within a few years, it wasn't just reruns anymore. It became a real studio. Shows like Dexter's Laboratory, Powerpuff Girls, and later Adventure Time and Teen Titans turned Cartoon Network into a genuine cultural force, not just background noise for kids. So, how did this channel actually make money at its peak? Three real streams. Stream 1, advertising. Cable channels sell airtime to companies who want your attention during commercial breaks. Toy companies, cereal brands, video game makers, all lined up to advertise next to cartoons watched by millions of kids every single day. Stream 2, carriage fees. This one's less visible, but it's huge. Cable and satellite providers pay networks a fee per subscriber just to include that channel in your cable package. Every single household with cable was quietly paying Cartoon Network a tiny slice of their bill, whether they watched it or not. Stream 3, licensing and merchandise. Toys, video games, theme park rides, clothing. Every Ben 10 watch, every Adventure Time backpack, every Gumball video game sold sent money back to the company that owned these characters. For years, this combination worked beautifully. Then, the world changed underneath it. Here's what actually broke the model. Cord cutting. People stopped paying for cable. When people cancel cable, two things happen at once. Advertisers stop paying as much because fewer eyeballs are watching live, and carriage fees dry up because there are fewer cable subscribers to collect them from in the first place. That 80% ad revenue collapse we mentioned wasn't a slow fade. It was a structural shift. Kids moved to tablets, phones, and YouTube. They didn't need to wait for a show to air at a scheduled time anymore. And Cartoon Network's own parent company made things worse by not fixing the problem fast enough. Here's the twist nobody expected. Instead of turning Cartoon Network into a strong standalone streaming brand, the parent company, Warner Bros. Discovery, folded much of its operations directly into Warner Bros. Animation. Cartoon Network's own interactive website shut down. It now just redirects to a teaser page for Max, the company's streaming service. The channel that used to be a destination became a hallway leading somewhere else. Now let's talk about costs, because this is where things get genuinely rough. Making animation isn't cheap. Studios, writers, animators, voice actors all cost real money, season after season. Competing for attention against an entire internet of free content requires constant spending just to stay visible at all. And Cartoon Network doesn't operate alone. It sits inside Warner Bros. Discovery, a massive media company carrying enormous debt from a merger a few years back. That parent company reported a net loss of nearly $2.9 billion in a single quarter this year. When the whole house is losing money, smaller rooms inside it, like one cartoon channel, get squeezed hardest first. Here's where the story gets almost unbelievable. In December 2025, Netflix agreed to buy Warner Bros. Discovery's streaming and studio business, including Warner Bros. And HBO Max, in a deal worth around $82 billion. Just 3 days later, a completely different company, Paramount Skydance, launched a hostile takeover bid for the entire company instead. Two giant companies fighting over the remains, while linear channels like Cartoon Network sit in the middle, increasingly treated as leftover pieces nobody's sure what to do with. So, is there any profit left in here at all? Yes, but not where you'd expect. The actual cartoons themselves, the characters, are still incredibly valuable in licensing. Toys, games, and streaming rights for shows like Adventure Time and Teen Titans Go still generate real money, separate from the channel's own ad sales. The characters outlive the channel that made them famous. That's the real cash flow left standing, not the network, the intellectual property. 4 hidden facts most people never hear. 1. Cartoon Network's actual TV ratings have fallen so far that some analysts now list it among the cable channels most likely to be shut down entirely within the next couple of years. 2. Despite the channel's decline, merchandise and streaming licensing for its old characters remains genuinely strong. Adventure Time toys and gumball games didn't stop selling just because fewer people watch the channel live. 3. The very website built to host Cartoon Network shows and games online has already been shut down and redirected. That's not a rumor. That already happened. 4. Cartoon Network's decline is happening at the exact same time its parent company is being fought over by two competing corporate buyers. The channel isn't just losing viewers, it's losing its own stable home. What can normal people actually learn from this? Lesson 1. A beloved brand isn't the same thing as a healthy business. Cartoon Network is still nostalgic and beloved. That didn't stop its core revenue from collapsing 80% in 10 years. Lesson 2. When the way people consume something changes, the business built around the old way has to change faster than the audience does, not slower. Cartoon Network moved too slowly, and the audience simply left without waiting. Lesson 3. Owning the actual asset, the characters and the intellectual property, matters more than owning the delivery pipe, the channel itself. The characters are surviving, the channel isn't. Lesson 4. Being part of a larger, financially struggling parent company puts even a strong brand at risk. Cartoon Network's problems got worse partly because of decisions happening far above it, inside a company drowning in its own debt. So there it is, a channel that once defined childhood for millions of people, now surviving mostly through the characters it created, while the channel itself quietly fades into a redirect page. The bull still gives you wings. The cartoons still exist. But the network that made them famous may not be far from becoming a memory itself. If this taught you something new, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel grow. Subscribe for more real breakdowns like this one. And tell me in the comments, what was your favorite Cartoon Network show growing up? I'll see you in the next one.